stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. So tonight we have 3 members not here. So each of you alternates that are here tonight, please act as a member. And did everybody sign the card, the Get Well card? Okay. We'll start with the minutes that you received of the July 1st meeting. Did you all get them? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Any questions, corrections, deletions, additions? If there are none, I would entertain a motion to accept them as presented.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Seconded.
Where are the minutes?
The minutes from before, from the meeting. I didn't make copies, did you?
You sent them to everybody?
That you all had them, right?
Yep.
Not this time. I sent them after they came in.
Okay.
Okay.
They're in my computer somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, no we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And we have 1 abstention, maybe? Do we have an abstention if you
I
didn't see
haven't
them?
exactly read them, but if everyone agrees they're okay.
So we'll have an abstention. It's passed anyway. Thank you. Okay. Financials. The financials that I had were the balance in the Fund 4 is the same as we had the last time. The number is the same, so we don't have an updated end of month at this point yet. We'll get it later in the month, so I don't have the last month. What I do have that I wanted to review with you is I wanted to start taking a good look at what our incomes is, instead of just giving you the total or dealing with the total from each of the different sites, and because I would like to again maybe later on this year bring up and discuss the idea of at least one of our sites having admission, because we spend a lot of money thinking of it, the railroad station. We have a lot there. And so at any rate, at this point for the month of July, our total income was $726.55. And that was income from sales, I should say. I'm sorry. Income from sales. Our total income from donations was $226.86. A good part of that first total was from the t-shirt sales that we had at Pride Heritage Day. So of the $226.86, if you want this, $19 was donations at the East Wakefield School, and $19 was donations at the Grange. And just as we have nothing that we sell at the East Wakefield School, we do sell a few items here, and we sold $30 in books, just as an aside. So we're open 2 days a week, 2 hours each day. And so I thought that was interesting. I'm going to break it down by month, so we'll see what we do in August and September. As you know, we were able to get the t-shirts delivered so that we had them for Heritage Day, and we took in $303.70 on t-shirts. on Heritage Day. The cost of the t-shirts to us was the ones we ordered, 144, was $2,339.62. So we're just a little over 2,000 as an expense at this point.
Yeah, but can we really look at it that way? I mean, we look at what we made if you break it down per t-shirt and how many we sold and what the profitability was. That's pretty much a pertinent number.
Well, it isn't in this particular sense because we sold, each of the members was able to buy a shirt at cost, so that we are out there wearing them and advertising. And all the, so members bought theirs and the rest were sold to the public. I think
Right, but that's a variable.
it is a variable. And most of the members have shirts now, so from now on it'll be.
From now on it is.
Yep.
But it still comes out to a net with a variable.
That's true.
Yeah, well, that's all I was bringing up.
So I'll continue then. Does anyone have any questions at this point? With Heritage Day, we basically we took in a total. Let me go back through this. After we netted out the food, we took in $304. The food itself cost us $320.29. So actually, to do the food, it was $320.29, and the fuel and ice was a bill to Longmeadow was $12.75. So the cost to do food that day, with the donations that we did as desserts, was $333.04. Now we've adjusted now how much we would need. We figured half of what we sold for hamburgers and half for hot dogs is really what we should have if we did the same type of event next year. So that information is now going to be on file.
All right.
Yeah.
So it was a good day. We had some new people there. We had some offers of help for various things. A couple things. Somebody offered to help us with our website if we'd like, at no charge. So it's always a plus, but financially it wasn't really, other than the t-shirts, which.
But another year we'd be looking at we'd rather run out than have a whole bunch left over.
Right, on the food.
If we adjust it accordingly, it should work out really well next year.
Right. And hopefully we would come up with, this year we were not able to have the North Coast there because they didn't have enough people so that they could do that. And there were a few other things that we might have done. We need to do, by the end of the year, we should talk about more activity at that day. We should have some plans that we can have in place if we're going to do it, because I don't think it was totally worthwhile. We have a lot of new people stopping in, and when we don't have a special event.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the only thing was the Garden Railroad.
Yeah.
And a lot of people had seen that already, but that was a draw. I know a lot of people came just to take a look at it.
I talked with 3 people who were there because of Fritz Weatherby.
Oh. Yeah,
Saying
those same
because
people
he had
probably
been
mentioned it to
there,
me.
they had gone to one of the other places he mentioned in Rochester, and they were disappointed, but they came and they spent a long time. One couple spent a long time inside, I think, with you. One woman did, I know. They spent a long time with you,
Yep,
Rick, looking at various things.
We went all over.
And they just enjoyed, they totally enjoyed it. And and they drove from the other side of Keene.
Wow.
Um,
That was a very nice article in the paper.
Yes.
which paper? I didn't see
Carroll
it.
County.
We need, okay.
Yes.
So we need, we should be cutting those articles out. So if someone sees an article that relates to the Heritage Commission or anything we do, because I've kept a notebook over the years. I'm not sure that the last year it's been as up to date. So,
You still have the paper?
Mm.
yeah, and when
I
I'm
think
not
so.
here in the winter, well, we don't do stuff
If you
in the
don't,
winter.
I do. Okay.
So we took in for food 304. Our expenses were 333.04. We had donations of $36.85. So we had a number of people there. But I'd like us to start thinking about, and we'll talk about it later in the fall when we have the full picture, that we might charge a nominal amount at the railroad station. Maybe so much for a family, or maybe we go back to having memberships and we have a annual membership. But if we do that, we have to be charging if we're going to do that, and we need to offer. We used to do a quarterly newsletter, and I'd like to be able to do that again. We need to offer something if we're charging.
How can
So
we charge if the Freight House doesn't?
they're a different entity.
I know, but
We can talk about
What-
it.
I was going to say, what's your feelings about it, Connie?
I'm not in favor of it.
Yeah, I'm not in favor of it either, to be honest. I
Okay.
don't think we would gain anything.
No.
I think the donations that we get now would
Free
dry out.
Yeah.
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 I think we
So
do better
at-
with the donations.
At $36 or if we look at the whole month of July, I don't have that right here.
There's a whole lot of money in the cash register down at the train station. Remember I emailed you and said there's money in the cash
Right.
register? There's
Right.
even more from this past,
Well, I
another
did-
50 from
yeah.
this past weekend.
That was donations from 2 days, because I haven't
donations and sales, but mostly donations, I think.
not the day we were there. We got, I took the donations out. Do you think it's still in the cash
Well, there
register?
was, all right. What I saw were yellow slips, and they were in the exact same spot where I had put them the week before.
I took the money and I took
did you
some of
take
the
the money?
slips, but not the,
Or maybe
I took
all
one of
right.
the slips.
Then there's another 50
Yeah.
in there, but
Okay,
that's going to
well,
be
that's
for
great.
August, though, right?
We're
That's going to
starting
count
with
for
August. So we got $50 in donations on
53,
Sunday.
53
Good.
there for
Did we sell
Sunday.
any t-shirts?
no.
Mhm.
I don't
And I
think
found
so.
2 hats.
Unless Elaine sold something, I can't remember whether
Because
she.
I haven't been down there this
Elaine
week.
might have sold because we had to be separate.
Right.
Separate. A lot of people. Huge crowd on Sunday. We were busy all day long. 2 and 3 groups of people constantly.
And how
great.
much did you receive for donations
53
for all day?
for 4 hours.
Yeah,
Well, that's the
with a
day.
lot of people, yeah.
That's the
Okay.
day.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we have to look at. Tracy?
I'm also worried that it would discourage people from stopping by, but I do think trying to figure out an income is important. So I
Right.
don't know how. I'm a little worried. I don't want to discourage somebody to come see it
Right.
because there's an admission charge. But obviously we need to.
We're
figure out a
spending
way-
more
we need to
money,
figure out a
we're
way
spending
to.
hundreds of dollars every month, and we're taking in a pittance.
Right.
But the Farm Museum has no problem about charging admission.
What if you put suggested donation? And then-
Well, I think it's something that I hadn't planned to discuss tonight, but I want you thinking about it, and that's why I want to keep a record of what our expenses are and what we're bringing in, and when the money's gone.
Right.
Then
You
what
know,
are we
we're
gonna do?
fortunate now.
Then what are we going to do?
I know.
When
Right.
the coffer's empty,
No, it
then
is.
what do you do?
So,
It is an
so
issue.
a good
I agree. but-
one
Yes.
for
What do you do then?
Then you raise money.
How?
what we did for.
How have
Charging
we done in the
admission.
past? What did we do with the Garvin building? How did we raise
Right.
money
That's
back
where
when
I
we
went.
had none at all?
Right.
We go
We got
through all that
donations
rigmarole again.
as much. We started the donation, the plaque donation thing. That was the big amount then, and that was $500 per person. So we're probably not going to get that again. But one of the things that we used to do, and we did it a couple years. We had a membership, and we offered the newsletter, and we could offer something else. But I think we need to get a newsletter together, but it's again, more work. It's a lot of work to do it. We could do a lot of it now by email instead of mailing out. Before we mailed out, we folded them up. It was like, we had a secretary who could help with it. We folded it up and did a paper staple and mailed them. But today we could do email for everyone who has an email. That would be some good PR, I think. So again, these are just ideas for other discussion. I really wasn't going to anticipate getting into it. I just wanted the information out there so we can be thinking about it, and I'll give it to you again at the end of August.
Okay.
And if people don't want to do it, they don't want to do it. I think we need to be aware of where we are financially. Any other questions about that? Okay. The CLG grant is the next thing on your agenda. And you did get your agendas, right? Yeah, you have it,
Yeah.
Nancy.
Yeah.
The DHR had hoped that it would go to the governor and council on the last meeting of July. It did not. They're hoping it will go the first meeting in August, which I think was a meeting this week. If it's not this week, it's next week. And they'll just keep us posted. We're not the only ones. There was another Heritage Commission, another town who's waiting to go too. So there were two of us that were waiting for that. Exhibits is the next thing on the agenda. Starting with Rick, do you want to talk about the mail catcher?
Well, the mail catcher, Phil and I went down and designed a base for it, and I made a form so that it would accommodate the base for the mail catcher, and we had concrete poured. Everything went well. We put the pins in and everything else, waited for it, and then we had Rusty came over. He's a very generous man. Came over and with his backhoe, and we lifted up the mail catcher, put it on the pins, screwed it down, and it's just perfect. The only problem is we have now is that nobody can figure out quite how it works. We have films of it, an old one, but Rusty couldn't figure it out, Phil couldn't figure it out, I couldn't figure it out, and
Snooky was there too.
Snooky was, we don't forget Snooky. and at that point we decided we're going to go to the source. So I called up Rick Libby, and he was all excited about coming over, and he came over on Saturday. And I brought my ladder up, and he was there, and he left with his tail between his legs because he couldn't figure it out either. But we will figure it out. We're just missing something. At the end of it, we're all going to kick each other because we should have figured it out. It's a simple thing, but we just haven't got the, we just don't have
So
the...
Phil made a bag.
Oh yeah,
and
Phil
so
made, yeah.
What you can't figure out is how the bag stayed between the two arms, right?
Yeah, there's two arms that are horizontal, but they're all on hinges and everything, so they have to go and be stable. The top one has to be stable, horizontal, and that's the key. We can't figure out how to do that. And then at that point, Phil made a great bag, and that should have hung from the top one, and then you lift the bottom one up and hook it on the bottom of the bag, and then you have two horizontal supports ready with the bag in the middle, ready for the train to go through. Well,
It's not. We'll get it figured out.
We have a fly in the ointment, but we're going to get the bugger.
Connie?
Did you ask David Toll?
Oh, don't go.
I know, but
Well,
he just might know.
You guys looked
Yeah, we
online.
looked online, and there are a number.
Follow
of
up with asking other people
Yeah,
too.
we will.
Good
We
idea,
will.
Connie.
Yeah, wonderful. But there are a number of films that are on the internet showing exactly them putting it up or whatever. We can't figure out how they do it. We do the same thing and it falls down. And so
So
there's
there
something.
might be a piece missing.
No, I
Or,
don't think there's a piece missing. There are only 3 pieces in the whole thing. Now, Connie, don't be laughing.
so at any rate, not to belabor that, thank you very much, you guys,
Anyway,
for getting that done. It's-
we're all over this anyway.
It's in, and at some point it will work.
Yeah.
We won't necessarily see it work because we don't have a train going by at 70 miles an hour to grab it.
Yeah.
But I did get the explanation put together, and it's a handout that people were interested in
But it
having.
looks wonderful. It's very interesting to look at and to visualize the concept. And we will get that done. But it's a wonderful addition to the station because I guarantee you can go all over New England and you are not going to find another one of these. And the reason why I can say that with a certain amount of confidence is that we've had people come that travel around. There was somebody that came this weekend that travels around. They like trains, so they go to these different places. And the only place that they knew that there was one of these was in Pennsylvania, at a museum in Pennsylvania. They had one, but other than that, there's none around. So it was a great contribution and gift to the
From Rick
to the commission
Libby.
from Rick Libby.
Wow.
And he's all enthused about it. He came up, as I said, on Saturday and loved it where it was and everything. And now he's going back and he's going to go digging through his paperwork and other things that he has because he wants to contribute more to the.
Good.
To
He
the
has a
station.
number of things.
A number of things.
But he also talked to you about the mail wagon, right?
Yeah, he has a baggage wagon that's all apart, but it's all there, with the exception of the floor on the bottom of it. And he wants to give us that, and that could be put together easily, and it would be it's something we're really missing at the station is a wagon for putting those chests and things like
Mailbags
this.
and and the freight.
Oh, nice.
So, and you would you would build what needed to be built.
Oh yeah, we put it right in the
So-
shop and do it. He has all the major pieces except the base for it, and we get some oak, put it in the bottom of it, and put it all together. And it's apparently, from what he says, it's all painted and everything. It's original.
So we'll get. There's a number of things. He was really
Oh yeah,
excited
he was
about what
all
we've
he's
done.
all fired up.
So that's good. Heritage Center, we did and made a number of changes, as you noticed, out here in the center over the past month, and with new pictures and frames, and we moved some of the displays around. This wall on the back would be Sambonville, so there's some items at the station that relate to the Garvin building that I think we should bring up here, and they should be here with the Garvin building and the Sambonville stuff. Do you all agree?
Sure.
One of the things was that that advertising for the sewing, the old home sewing machine, and then there's another framed ad of a number of different things that they were selling at the Garvin building, and it's way up high. No one's going to see it. I think it'll be much more beneficial here. So we'll get someone to help me bring that up.
On that same note, we had a visitor that wanted to see a picture of John Sanborn down at the train station, and I thought for sure we had one, and
We
I
did.
looked everywhere. I can't find him. Where is he?
He was on, it was a news article, and he was
Careful,
on
Tracy.
the wall, but you know what? The wall he was on,
He's gone.
I couldn't find
you know
him
what? He was on the
anywhere.
wall.
And I
We
thought
need
I had
that.
seen John down there.
He was.
But I know he's also out here, and I was thinking, well, maybe I'm remembering his picture out here.
We need to.
He's in the
we need to
conference
do.
room.
And so he should be. So he should be.
I think where I remember it was on the wall where that Y mail hook is, and that was also some other Opera House items that were brought up here. and I don't know what happened to where his picture, but we'll find it. We need to get it up there.
Maybe
It may
it's
be
out.
I don't think
may
it
be
is.
It's a
upstairs, too.
smaller one out. It's a fairly small photo
That we
of
have
him
here.
out here.
But there was a larger
There's a
one
larger one
with
somewhere.
a whole newspaper article. We
Okay.
need to find that.
Yeah,
It might be
yeah.
upstairs too.
Some of the things, we've been.
Yeah, because he's important enough to be
Oh,
absolutely.
his picture in
That's
both
where
places.
he should
Both
definitely be.
places, yeah.
If we only had one, it should be there.
Well, yeah.
Although Sambonville wouldn't have been. No, we needed it in
Oh,
both
he was
places.
so
You're right.
intimately connected with the railroad that,
yeah.
that makes
Um,
sense.
Oh, that just brought something else to mind. It's gone. Oh, Rick and I took the glass plates down to Photosmith in Dover, and they're working on them. I called Saturday. They aren't done, but they will
This way.
probably be done this week. We just have to go pick them up. We need to get a few more frames to do some of the other items we need here. There's some things that we want to frame for the Union Station as well. You found some things out back. We did. I hope you noticed I did a major cleanup
Looks good.
and reorganizing down there on Saturday.
Yeah.
In between, we had a lot of visitors too.
Elaine was impressed. She was standing there looking at the desk. And she says, "That looks really nice."
Thank you.
Very nice
So
lady.
She's a great lady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So trying to
Lucky to
get
have
rid of
her.
things we didn't need there. I threw out a bunch of things. You took some stuff to the dump, not good things, but there was stuff
There was
that
a lot of
needed to be
stuff that
cleaned
had
out.
to be gone.
But I also found a few things that we should frame and get up on the walls, and particularly if we're taking some things off to bring up here. So how do we want to deal with purchasing additional frames? There was a couple things. I think you said you'd make the frames and then we'd just have to buy the glass because they were an odd size. So shall I deal with what we need? Do you want to give me a dollar number, or do you want to just sort of say we can frame what we need and deal with it put it on the warrant? Obviously, I don't go crazy with those things.
Yeah, I think go ahead and do it.
Do what we have to do.
Yep.
They're basically the traditional black ones that they look good, but they're not terribly expensive.
Right. And most of these that we have here, I bought at Kohl's with a 30% discount when they were on, say, a half price, because they used to do that all the time, and they're decent frames. And so all the ones out there look most of the 8x10s look the same, or the 11x14s. And you went in there for me last month, and they didn't have
They
any.
didn't have any.
So we'll work on
There's a
that.
Kohl's in Portsmouth.
I wonder if they would.
They might
Hobby
have.
They
Lobby
might.
has some nice
Yeah.
frames.
Hmm?
Hobby Lobby has a lot of frames. I don't know if you
But they're more
they're-
expensive.
Are they?
Sometimes they do.
Well, if you get the 40% off, but that's only
Yeah.
on one article.
Oh.
So we need to all go in and buy one.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Give us the size.
I can print out a whole bunch of coupons.
I didn't know.
Well, all you need to
I don't
do,
buy one of usually things, so I
No.
didn't realize it was.
Yep, it's just
well, you
one.
have the coupon on your phone. You don't even need to print it.
I
Yeah.
know, but I can't get it on my phone.
Yeah.
Michael's also has,
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
40 or
So I should
60%
look.
off.
I know we
Yep.
got a real, we ended up with like $10 or less frames with glass and nice quality, and they're all standard. Pretty much, there were 2 or 3 different types, but I'll look. I'm now able to get around to deal with this stuff and don't have to rely
I know
on.
Michael's most Saturdays, so if you ever want me to
Okay.
stop, and every Saturday and Sunday, so. One on Saturday, one on
Okay.
Sunday.
Yeah.
He told me that I could get to the price and.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah.
So it's just like these, like that one, or out in the. Well, I'll show you when we
Okay.
leave.
I'll get a price when I go up this weekend, and I can let you know. I could always get
Because
them
they
on
probably
Sunday.
have a flyer online, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I
So we can do that. You won't have
Yeah,
to
the
stop. And
the
then,
thicker the frames, like the one on your closest to you, are the ones we, as wide as you can get them, as opposed to these little skinny.
Yeah.
those, yeah,
Anyone.
those things were framed
Yeah.
for us
Yeah.
professionally.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're still working on that. East Wake, anything else on general exhibits? Anyone? East Wakefield School. Tracy, first, the sign is installed, completed and installed. There have been some comments, I don't want to get into the particulars tonight, from a few people that don't like the way it looks. So we might need to make a change. There was very strong opinions about the way it looked.
From the committee, from Heritage or from others?
Heritage and docents.
Huh.
So what I want you to do, look at the sign, because at the next meeting, what I said to the two people that, should I say who they are?
Sure.
Okay, one is Rick.
Okay. I'm thinking
Soon as he
my God,
saw
there's
it-
only like 4 doses.
As soon as he saw it,
I haven't
he
seen
was didn't like it, and Billy Blackwood,
Well,
I
the
know.
same.
Didn't like
The
it.
two of them both had the same opinion.
For the same reason.
the way-
What's the reason?
Well, I guess we are going to talk about it. So, but look at it.
The reason basically is the format and balance and perspective. And here you have East Wakefield in letters like this, East Wakefield going across here, and then you have school, there's letters
Big
like
letters.
that.
Yeah.
It's like a crosswalk,
Yeah.
you know.
I wouldn't
And
like
it-
that either.
No, it isn't.
I haven't
There's
seen
no,
it.
There's no.
That doesn't.
I put it
No,
up
it's
thinking, you know
because East
what?
Wakefield is a longer set
Or
of
as
letters,
Rick
and they
said-
made them smaller,
but
so they would fit on one
yeah, but the
line.
design of
The size of the sign.
format of the sign itself would have lent itself to having one that was like there was originally that I took down, which was the one that was for the church. Okay, it was the same width, but it was deeper, and it lent itself easily to laying out the words accordingly, so that it was presented itself as a unit as opposed to
The
this one
letters
thing
need to
that
be the same
is one of
size.
these things that you
Oh,
the
like Wakefield.
letters
And
schools
the
you
other-
could tripped over.
And the other thing he was thinking maybe, and I think when you talked to Bill about it, if it's not wide enough to do the full line, do East Wakefield School all the same size and it's
Yeah, it should be all-
established underneath.
They should all the letters should be the same.
So
Because
I want.
there's nothing. Excuse me, I'm
No,
sorry. There's nothing that has more emphasis than another. Nothing has more import than another in East Wakefield School. They're all of the same ilk, and one should not be emphasized more than another, especially double the size that the word school is.
So now that he's told you, will you look at it?
Yep.
And this is what I said to both of them. We'll leave it up for the month because it does bring people in. And then I would talk with everyone. We decide if we need to have it relettered. And I was going to call the Bill who did it and ask him how much it would be just to repaint it and reletter it. And so I'll get that, and I didn't do it. I'll get that information for the next meeting.
He may
It was
have to
Saturday that Bill called me. Bill Blackwood called me from over there, and he was handy right there. And they were both.
Is it, what was the original sign like? Would you want to recreate that or no?
Well, the original sign was.
We don't know.
As I said, yeah.
No, the sign, the original
The East
school
Wakefield
sign.
Schools.
Oh, wait.
They may not even have had a sign there. Most of
Oh, you
our
don't think
schools
there
didn't
was?
have signs.
Okay.
On Paul's school, we had it on the building. Is it still on the building? But we never had signs at the grammar school or the primary school
Oh, okay.
years ago, so there probably wasn't a sign there.
Mhm.
But there was a sign post that went in, and the sign was there for maybe the Hill Community Center. How long have you been here, Jean?
30 years.
30?
Yeah.
Do you remember before the church was there was a
Karate studio.
yeah, but
But then that was all that was there since I've
do
been
you
there.
oh okay,
It was
because the Hill
karate studio and then
Community
the church.
yeah, the community center had a sign too. So this post and the sign and the sign itself, we don't know where it came from,
Oh,
so we can't
so there was.
tell you what the original. There probably was not a sign.
in the original.
But people think it's a church.
Yeah.
You know, we need the sign out there that says
Says it's a school.
East
Yeah.
Wakefield School.
Yeah.
So look at it, and I will give you a price next month for, you were gonna say he might not be able to just re-letter?
Well, the vinyl letters on it, the letters are not painted to begin with. It's just a white sign, a white board, and he,
But don't they come off, or are they painted,
They-
covered over with something to, a mastic or?
they're an adhesive that is it's either way, with time it becomes permanent. And that's the way it is now. I don't think you're going to be able to peel them off.
Well, I'll have a price for you for the next
But
meeting.
either way, but no matter what, as I mentioned before, the format of the sign, the dimensional format of the sign, will not lend itself to the verbiage that we have on it. So it would have to be a sign that would be taller than wide, as opposed to a square sign that's on there.
Do you think we need a whole new sign? Is
Yeah.
that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Not
that's what
just
I'm thinking.
redoing that?
Yeah.
All right, we all look
But
before our next
Everybody
meeting.
look at it and
Mm.
see what they think.
Plus the post has to be painted, but would
Yeah.
you think the post would allow for a bigger sign?
Oh, sure. There was a bigger sign on there before.
Okay.
I have it.
Because he went up and he did go up and look at the post before he made the sign.
He
So,
was looking for width,
Oh.
not depth.
okay. All right. So, and I talked to him only over the phone. I didn't give him anything in hand, which sometimes we have done and sometimes we haven't. So I will be responsible for the fact that we left probably more of it up to him. But he said he was coming up to look at it to get the right measurements. And he's a sign maker, so that's what happened there.
I'll tell you what you do really see, and that's that what do you call it, sandwich sign or whatever it is.
Yes.
You do see that. I came up through there today. I went down through and came up through. You see that sign instantly as you're driving by.
And it's brought people in. The day
That
you were
really
there,
shows.
the
Oh,
day
yeah.
you were there, a guy,
Yeah. Yeah, there was a guy there that was from Pennsylvania, and he's been coming here for years, and he's never been able to be by there when it was open. But he saw that sign this time. He turned right around. He says, "I turned right around on that road." He says, and I came whipped right in and he was there he made a donation, and he was there he must have been there for at least an hour, talking about the school, and he has some affiliation with the historical preservation in Pennsylvania, and so he was, very familiar and sympathetic to what we were doing.
and Bill told me on Saturday that he had 15 people
Yeah, I saw a lot of cars over there.
stop in, and Adele was there at one point, and she stayed because, I'm thinking, we plan on just one at a time there unless there's a second person that happens to be there. And some of the times we have had two. And the same thing here. Again, plan on one, sometimes there's two here. And two in Union. And if we get more people, then we may have to look for more docents. We may have found a possibility from one of our guests last Saturday.
Last Saturday.
I had a woman stop by whose grandmother had taught there.
Really?
She
Really?
put her name down and her email address in the
On the book?
in the book.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll copy it down and send it to you.
Okay.
And from her, I think her last name was Willie, the grandmother. And she only taught there for a year or two because, of course, back then if they got married, they stopped teaching.
Right.
So she
Huh.
was going to look and see if she could find some
Oh,
photos
wonderful.
and maybe some info from her family. Yeah.
Okay, it'd be nice to know when that was. I mean, we may have it in some of our records.
Well, it's in the book. Her name is in the book.
Okay,
Listed as one of the first group of
one
teachers.
of teachers, okay.
Yeah, I'll write it down next time I'm over
Yeah,
there.
good.
Maybe
Okay,
she
well,
has
that's
like
great.
a glass photo or something. Wouldn't that be great to
Yeah.
have a
Yeah.
photo of a graduating class?
Right.
That'd be neat.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, we now, so Tracy, how do you stand with docents for August?
So I've been pulling up my schedule
Okay.
right here. It was wonderful. Actually, think I'm doing this Wednesday. Anne has next Saturday. Amy Bintz is Wednesday. I think I'm pulling this Saturday. You said you do the 21st. Bill's doing the next Saturday. I'm doing the 28th, and unfortunately the 31st, which is the Saturday of Labor Day, we don't have covered. But that's it. Otherwise, we're completely covered. It's tough. It's a tough one.
I might be able to do that because I'm doing the bean supper that night at Willowbrook, so I'll be around that weekend.
Should I put your name
Yeah,
down?
put my name
Okay.
down.
Oh,
so
great.
we're completely
Thank you,
covered.
Jean. Thank you. Great.
Well, I know I have to be around because I'm
All
serving at the bean supper, so I'm not going away that weekend. so.
So
Okay,
you
great.
You'll
Well,
see.
thank you.
So I'll send out one last email to everybody, and that's it. We have
If you ever
everybody.
want to come to a good bean supper, come to Willowbrook.
Okay.
The
I
woman-
wish my husband liked beans. Can you imagine a New
beans
Englander?
beans are the very least of it. Because
Really?
the woman who runs it is kind of obsessive compulsive. She has every kind of salad known to mankind: homemade mac and cheese, homemade cornbread.
Really?
Like the beans are over here, and
Sounds so
everything
good.
else is along.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
$10.
have casseroles too as well.
It's all kinds of salads,
Yeah.
potato salads, coleslaws, vegetable salads,
Macaroni.
macaroni and
That
cheese,
would do it
homemade
for me.
cornbread, like 5 to 10 different kinds
All right,
of
so
desserts.
tell
Well,
us-
I'd go to that.
So now it's called the
That
Current
sounds
Homestead, but it used to be
Yeah,
Willowbrook.
and we know it.
Yeah.
And so tell us what
So it's
time.
the last Saturdays of the month, so there's one this month and then there'll be one.
And it's
in
at what
September.
time?
It's 5 to 7, but you want to get there early because
So
And-
where is Willowbrook?
In
Excuse me?
Newfield?
Where is it?
Newfield.
Oh, Newfield.
The
I
carousel.
don't go over the line much.
Go
There's a carousel
153,
there, right?
153, take
Oh.
110,
110.
Yeah.
and then you pick up Route 11 right in front of Molten Lumber.
Is that fun?
Yeah.
Keep right on going,
Oh,
all
yeah.
the way.
And right across,
And when you
take
go
the
down-
road across from the Newfield.
And you go down the
Town
hill,
Hall.
I must
at the
have
very
went by
bottom
it,
of the
'cause
long
I
hill,
used to
take a
go
left-hand
to-
turn, you're right in
Yeah.
I
there.
used to go to Buxton.
Oh,
Well, you went by the road to
way
it.
past
Yeah.
it.
But the kids go, didn't
Yes.
the kids, school kids always go there on a trip
Field
where they
trip.
used
It's got
to.
a wonderful working carousel.
I don't, is that still there?
Mhm.
Is it still there?
Yeah.
Because a lot of those items went to that railroad station
Yeah.
up in, where were we? Booth Bay? Booth Bay.
Booth Bay
Yeah.
Harbor.
What's the name of it? But
Oh,
one of
well,
their
it's
their
worthwhile
general
stopping,
store
that's
is
for sure.
all stuff from Willowbrook,
Really?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
and they wanted the
Country
carousel.
Yeah.
everything. You
Yeah,
think
they
of
told
that.
us they wanted the carousel, but they didn't get it, and I didn't know if they
Mm.
kept it,
I think that was a whole part of the endowment of that place, so.
that it had to
But
stay.
we do school field trips, May and June,
Yeah.
and the kids get to ride on it,
Ah,
which is like,
Oh, that's
you know,
great.
it's a big thing. you know.
yeah, absolutely.
We
It's
had
a
like
beautiful.
1,800 kids last spring come
Wow.
through.
So that's a good nursery school thing too.
Yeah.
And it's not far. It's like
Yeah.
Yeah.
20 minutes,
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
less.
it's not
or
right.
depending on
Plenty
where
of
in
places
town
to
you are.
park, it's not,
Oh, yeah.
not an issue at
They
all.
do a breakfast there. They have a little breakfast
You
place
never
there.
been
So I'm
there,
meaning
Connie?
to go to.
You've never been there?
No.
Huh.
Well, you'd enjoy it, it's really a nice
Well,
place.
unfortunately,
Okay.
it's not as much as it used to be.
No,
just
no.
Because, but
But it's still, it's still
it's a
neat.
beautiful setting.
Yeah,
It is.
with
You
the,
come
with
to
the
the
water
main
and
supper and you
with
get
the
to
water
see
and the
it.
Yeah.
boathouse
All right.
and everything over.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Good, good PR. Good job, Jean,
Yeah,
and
we
thanks
go.
for filling in on Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
And Tracy, did you find out exactly who gave us that desk? It's
Susan
lovely.
Trace. She just happened to call me. Yes, Susan Trace. It's, Treyes. She happened to call me for something else, and I said, "Oh, was that your desk?" She said, "Yes, it is." I think she did too, actually.
That's a great desk,
desk
Tracy.
and
But
chair.
yes,
And
it is.
I had visions, I had visions of that thing being something that'd been painted up with carnival colors and stripped all of down.
Well,
and it-
because
if we had a dozen of those, it'd be perfect.
because
You
you
know?
said to me about
Wonderful
it being refinished, and I thought to myself, "Oh my God," because
Right,
people
no, she
that
just did it to make
donate.
it look nice,
Yeah.
not refinished in a bad way.
People,
Yeah.
things in a museum aren't all refinished, and when
I should
Rick went out there to
clean it
work,
up, maybe would have
Yeah.
been a better way to phrase it.
and he looked at it, and I
Oh,
said,
so you.
"Tell
Oh.
me what it is," and he says, "It's beautiful. We
Yeah.
should have them all like that."
Oh,
So, and
wonderful.
today I moved it into the classroom
Hmm.
carefully, maybe not in its final resting place, because I probably would have gotten in trouble for lifting it.
Yeah, you would have.
Oh, hey,
You might still be there.
Anything else? Oh, the East Wakefield School. I do have something else. After our last meeting, we had of the projects, and we're not going to get into much of that tonight because Nancy wasn't able to be here. Nancy Britton, her mother is not doing well, and they're staying in Manchester near the nursing home. But I'll tell you, since it's East Wakefield, about the steps. Remember the cement steps? Wayne called me in the winter to see if we could use them there. He said, they'd work at the back door, and so we had them dropped there. So after our last meeting, I talked to Johnny Blackwood about helping us with getting them moved into place, and he said that he was concerned, and he and Bill both talked about it, concerned about the location of the septic system, and you might not be able to get around it. Well, this past weekend, they were there looking, because they were also going to do probing for where the system was, because you don't want to, they think 1,000-gallon tank, and you don't want a piece of equipment going in it. Mm-hmm. And the steps are 8 inches, not 7, which is standard. They don't really work there. And so I'm going to try to get the town to come back and get them, because they're stuck there, and they wouldn't be there if Parks and Rec hadn't decided that we could use them, and they dumped them there. So now I'm going to see if I can get them picked up, because they're in the way. They won't work. We're going to have somebody build steps. The wrong height, and they wouldn't meet code if we had to deal with that, but we can't have them placed where they need to be placed. Okay. Also at East Wakefield, I got a quote from Doug Royal. He went out and looked at the trees. There are 2 trees he said need to come down. He gave me a quote, but I'm not going to give it to you tonight because How To was out there, and they're going to quote, so I don't want anything out here. But Bill and Johnny were there when what's his name?
Tanner?
Yes, was there, and we're going to get a quote, I was told. Okay. So we'll wait and deal with that.
Okay.
Anything else at the East Wakefield School? And the Grange, I already told you, we'd like to bring up those Garvin items. Anything else here at the Grange? Nancy, can you think of anything?
How about docents? Are we set for August?
Are you doing?
I can do Wednesdays.
Okay, and Nancy can do Saturdays, and when she can't, I'll be here. She hasn't told me yet that she can't, and then Rick will do the station, because Rick and I are doing the station Saturdays and Sundays. But we have Eileen for Saturdays and you for Sundays normally. So we'll deal with that at this point.
Who's Eileen?
Eileen is our new docent. You met her.
I thought it was Elaine.
Eileen.
Elaine.
It's
Elaine.
It is Elaine. Thank you.
Yeah.
It was a new
I thought
person.
that was another.
No. It's a brain cramp. Been a long week, and today's Monday, right?
Yeah.
So, we have anything else at the Grange? I've been working on this back closet, so that's looking a lot better. We're trying to sort through things and find things that we should have on display here and work around, so make it a little more interesting when people come in. As Rick said, they love to come in and see these pictures and the way things used to be, and not these, the ones that are out there. And so we've moved around some of the Wells Fargo things, and we'd like to move the case into another space too, and use that whole wall for things that relate to home life in Wakefield Corner. So, and we're working on a number of things that we're happy to put on display. once we find a place. I'd like to also get the other quilt hung here. What I'd like to do is take down the crazy quilt that's here, leave the commemorative one up, take down the crazy quilt and fold it over a quilt rack. So, does anyone have any type of a quilt rack or thing we can use?
I do.
Do you?
Yep.
That you would loan to us?
Sure. I've got a quilt on it, but it's up at the top in the hallway. Nobody ever sees it or anything. I'll just put the quilt in the closet.
You wouldn't mind? That'd be
No.
great. And then we can get the quilt out that shows all the buildings in town.
Yeah.
That that should be up here.
It
Yes.
should be, because
And
that's
this other one
such
could
a
just get folded because the crazy quilt shows you.
distinctive item.
Yeah.
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 And people in town did it. So.
Yes, and people recognize the buildings, and
Right.
they see them embroidered, and it's just kind of a,
Right. And
a nice
and we
experience.
don't have a space. I don't think it makes sense to buy another quilt hanger and hang 3.
Yeah.
So I thought the crazy quilt we could fold. So
Yeah.
Connie,
Yeah.
great. I'll
Oh, that'll
send
work out
somebody
well.
down to pick it up
Okay.
sometime, and
Yeah.
we'll get that
Yeah.
out. That'd be great. Thank you.
I should mention that on Wednesdays we've actually had people here. Now, I don't know how last summer was because I wasn't available. The summer before that, I was here almost every Wednesday, and I probably saw 2 people the whole summer. So far in July, there's been 2 people every Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's been, I mean, that's not a
Yeah.
huge
Yeah.
amount of traffic, but for this particular site, that's a big increase.
It is. It's 100% increase.
It's a big increase, and on the Wednesdays, I don't think we expected to have.
Well, it's the
There's not that
parking-
much traffic out
Parking
there.
is an issue.
Yeah.
So when I was here, the last time I was here, we had a couple people stop too. Three people that day, and that would have been a Wednesday, I think. Nancy. The other thing under other, one of the things that Connie and Rick talked about, actually, you brought it up before,
Really?
suggested a fundraiser that we have pictures of our different sites
Oh, yeah.
or items or what appropriate anyway that people would buy for refrigerator magnets. And I've never, I until recently didn't have a refrigerator that would take a magnet, you know, it had a wood face. And I've never done that, but Connie said there, would you comment on those?
Yeah. No matter where I go, that's the first place I go in the gift shop to bring back magnets for people. Because everybody loves the magnets.
Yeah. My
And
entire
I-
refrigerator.
Oh, mine
is
is
covered
too.
I'm
with
like
Ken's
way out of
collection of
Mine's got
500
pictures and the
magnets.
magnets are holding up the pictures and,
Yeah.
and Spencer's artwork. And, But, and you can buy some really unique
What do you
magnets
spend
when
for
go.
them, Connie?
I've spent up to $5 or $6.
And what's the cheapest?
Depending. Usually they're $3, $4.
Okay.
That's
So
all right.
Rick has a friend.
Yeah, I know the guy that makes all these.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's
Oh,
been
his
making,
that
wife,
would be
his wife does
fantastic.
them.
been making it for years and years and years, and he has a wonderful business, and he does well, and he's there. Well, Pam would tell you talk to Patty more than I do.
You see them in all the antique shops. They
They're
do.
everywhere.
So what I was we saw them on Saturday,
Yeah.
Sunday,
Sunday.
and I asked her costs, and I think we can double our money then based on what you just said, because
On the $3 one. Not,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
and she
$3.
said she
Yeah,
usually
they'll buy.
does like a postcard size, not postcard.
Credit card.
Business card size or
yeah.
credit card, and then the larger size was
like a postcard.
it wasn't quite that big,
It wasn't.
but
Pretty
we
close. It
thought the
was pretty
smaller
good.
size,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, which is what everybody
And
wants.
she said she needs all I have to do is email her the pictures, and she'll do them, and they're finished both sides, and we can get them from her at $1.45 each, so we can double.
I think
our
that
money.
would be a good thing to have.
Yeah.
People buy magnets.
Yeah, I think those would sell pretty
And
well.
I
Yeah.
thought,
Tell
so I
the
was thinking,
quantity.
huh?
Tell the quantity.
We only, she will do them for as little as six of it, so we can
Oh,
just
wow.
try it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we should
Can-
have like 25.
Yeah. So this is what I'm thinking, that
Christmas shopping?
we might pick the buildings, and we might pick some different items in
Yeah.
the buildings, and maybe we could do like a series. Would people buy a series
Like
of
we
them?
did the plaques.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but we do them more often. We just do a group
Yes.
and add a group and.
Yep.
Okay, so maybe Connie, would you like to be on a committee?
Sure.
Because you, and to work on the different pictures we do. And she said we should do at least 300 pixel, right?
Which is
Yeah.
We can't do
Pretty
them with
fine
our
quality.
phones.
really
We
fine
have to do
quality.
them with our cameras.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then we can either mail it, we can send it to her, or we could email. And she would let us know if it wouldn't compress to the right size. And,
The
and
pub
she's just
has
over
one.
in,
Don't you have a pub one?
I'd never had a refrigerator that was
I have a
magnetic.
pub one.
And the turnaround for putting in an order and getting it back is like that.
She said she'd do it in
Yeah.
like less than a week, and they just live over in Gray.
Yeah.
If we pick them up or mail them or whatever.
That sounds great.
Mm.
We could have them at the different locations.
Yeah.
when
Yeah,
everybody-
we have nothing at the
And I
school to sell.
Yeah, there is.
I actually had an idea. It's interesting that
Good.
you say this. It says I make greeting cards, and I
Okay.
started taking pictures of the school. So I have all the supplies underneath one of the, beds in a guest
Yeah.
room. So I thought I would start trying to make some of the cards. that
Yeah.
You could sell,
Yes.
because I would just donate them. And
That would be great.
Wow.
it could
The
be like $2 to sell
Okay.
a greeting card. And the
We-
cost would be
Or there
zero.
could be note cards. even.
note cards,
Note
like,
cards,
right?
yeah.
Just a note
Yeah.
card people
With
would
the
write in.
picture on the front.
Well, like a greeting card. I mean, nothing inside. Just
Right, that's what
picture,
I'm saying.
we're talking the same
And I have I mount different colors to go with the
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
and then I
Oh,
have
that
that
would be-
stuff. And,
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Now, we don't sell a lot of those because we have note cards for Newishawanick and for Spinney Meeting House.
Oh,
And I use them, and we had some for the railroad station. And I use them to send thank yous to people for donations. But
Yeah,
we
Nancy
ha-
But if you
Bancroft
had them
made
like
up a
for a
bunch, yeah.
holiday,
Nancy
like for
Bancroft
Christmas,
did the,
Christmas greeting card for at least the people that went to school and their
Yeah,
offspring.
I
I'm
think-
only making a few.
try and see, like, yeah.
It's
But I
gonna
think,
cost zero because I've got the supplies sitting under.
I think that's
Yeah.
perfect. And again, the school is a little different. It might go.
Mm.
Yeah.
People don't write cards. I have a sister who writes, she writes
She's my
long.
pen pal.
Yeah, she writes long every morning.
We
She
write
gets
to
up
each other.
early
Yeah.
and she has her coffee, and 4:30, 5:30, she's writing notes
She's
to
the
everybody.
last person in the universe that
Yeah,
does
well,
that.
she got that from her mother-in-law. Edith used to do that
Yeah.
every day too. She
Mhm.
wrote,
I think that's wonderful.
but anyway, let's try it.
We had-
I still buy I still buy the.
I do too,
We,
but
we had a visitor ask
Not
if
quite
she
as
could buy
often.
one card.
yes,
And I'm thinking maybe the price of the packs is a little prohibitive.
Yeah.
We're charging $12
Yeah.
at the train station for a little pack of, I don't know, 5 cards or
6,
something.
5 or 6 cards.
yeah.
So they're $2
Um,
each. We used to sell them singly.
What if I were to break one of those packs down and just put them in sandwich bags
Yep,
and sell them individually? What should I charge?
$2.
$2 for each.
Isn't that what?
Okay, I have a feeling that people might, because the ones we've got the Nwichawanock and we've got the Spinning, and they're both very distinctive. They're
Yeah.
attractive
Yeah.
to look
Right.
at. They're pretty pictures. People might just like that as a souvenir.
Right.
They're not going to use it.
Yeah.
but
Well, they
would
also
have
get
it.
frames. Sometimes I've bought cards
And frame.
and framed
Yeah,
them from
yeah.
when I've been visiting
Yeah.
something.
All right, well, I'll do that Sunday then
Okay.
when I'm down there.
So don't cross out the price. We'll do another little.
We'll just put a piece of paper with.
I'll do something that looks.
Just do something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll
Because
charge.
those.
And again, we may not have any interest in it. It was only one person
But
that asked
that's
about
a good
it.
point, though. So
um,
So it was
Yeah.
$2 for 6?
no,
It's
No.
eight
$12.
$12.
It's
$12
$12 for the pack, and there
Yeah.
aren't very
cards.
many
Either 5 or 6
in the pack. And
pack.
Yeah.
I'm thinking people just were thinking it wasn't that good a deal, or they didn't.
Well, you have
Whereas
a
there's
use
so
for-
many, they
for
might
6
not
of
have
them.
a use for 6, but they would want bronze.
Right.
And
I
if they
think-
just wanted some little souvenir,
Yep.
that-
So
that
I
could- that
think
could
what
do it.
I'll do,
And maybe they
because-
buy a magnet too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
redid we had some cross-outs, so I redid the price list, you noticed that. I'll do something with it, so we don't have to do any cross-outs, it'll
Okay.
look better.
Okay.
So $2 per note card.
Yeah.
I'll get that done for Saturday. So you want to, Connie, you want somebody on your committee with you?
Yeah.
Pick somebody.
For the,
There you got someone.
Okay. All right.
All right, will you so come up with maybe 6 different sites or things to start with
Yep.
that we can take a decent picture of.
Hmm.
So like right now the caboose probably isn't one of the things that should have a picture because it's in process. We're still trying to get bids
Yeah.
from people.
you know what I think would be a pretty picture is the schoolhouse in the winter with the lights on and a wreath on the
Oh,
door.
wouldn't that
Did
be
anybody
pretty?
take a
That's what I was
picture of
thinking
that?
about using for
Yeah.
a Christmas card.
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
put in
Oh,
Merry
yeah.
Christmas from East Wakefield.
I don't have any. Well, look, I have some with my phone, but I'll look and see if I have any on my camera.
You know,
but I
just-
certainly can get one this winter.
You know, with the lights, because you put the lights in the window and
Yep.
the
Yeah,
wreath.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice,
I don't know,
and a
just
wreath on the
really
door.
nice.
Since you're in Florida,
I like that.
we'll have something to send you so you can see it in Florida.
Yes, yes.
They got
Okay.
lights this year.
So
outside
the
windows.
magnet, we're going to, let's see, why don't we approve $50 to get started?
Yeah.
Was that a motion from somebody?
I'll make a motion to put $50 toward the
Magnets.
magnet project.
Okay.
Second.
Seconded by Connie, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No, all right. Then Connie, you two get thinking about that. One of you has I know you have a camera.
Yep.
You have
I just have my phone.
okay. Connie, I know you have a camera
Yep, got a couple of them.
and you could email the pictures.
Actually, I send-
Oh, I don't know how to do that.
Do you
I
know
have-
how to email?
I
Phil
do.
probably does. Well,
Yeah.
Yep, I can do that. I'm gonna give you mine.
Because she said she needs good quality photos.
So, if I take the picture, give you the picture, you can email it?
Yes.
Okay.
So what do these magnets look like? Are they just
They're
I
finished.
should have brought one, and I read the agenda too, but it didn't dawn on me.
Well, I didn't put magnet. I didn't have it
Oh.
on there.
There's
It's
a
full.
huge variety of
My phone
magnets.
number, so
Yep.
I have
when you call me, then
refrigerators
I'll
filled
put
with
yours in.
magnets, and
Okay.
Well,
some of them are in the
Mine-
shapes
I
of
can give you mine.
states,
Hers are,
Okay,
yeah.
sure.
and some are in the shapes of the particular object that they're talking about.
Primarily, what they've done is they have pictures of some antique replicas of things, but she only does 2 sizes at this point.
Uh,
She does the business card size or credit card,
Right.
and she does a larger size, and that's all. So
So are
that's
they
all
just square,
Mhm.
rectangular, like
or
a
square.
like
Yep.
a business card
She
would
has
be?
square. She has rectangle.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
What you're
we-
talking about would be a die cut, and they would.
Yeah.
if it
Those
was
would take much more than a week to produce.
And they'd be
No,
more
they'd be
lot of-
far more expensive, and you
They
need,
would be,
you need
and
a
they
large
were.
volume
They were. My
to-
refrigerator's worth
to
a fortune.
to justify, a die cut one.
Yeah.
But basically, people, if they're interested in reflecting something they've seen or whatever they find attractive, a rectangle is just fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be good.
All right, so if you guys, if the two of you could get something pulled together in the next week or so, we can get them all,
Hmm.
we would have them for at least 2 weeks during the summer. I think she'd get turnaround in a week,
Yeah,
Yep.
and we might have to go over
So,
That's
what we
no
get
problem.
do you want me to take pictures of the buildings? What do you want me to take
I want
pictures of?
you and Tracy to decide.
Oh,
yeah, whatever you think.
I think a
would be-
picture of the school, if you can get it
Yeah.
without that concrete there.
I think we can. And are there, are
what
they,
concrete there?
The
The
concrete
steps.
steps that we're talking
Oh,
about.
Right in the
They're not
front.
photogenic.
I got a call in from Jean in the middle of winter saying, "Do you know somebody just dumped something?"
I had no idea what it was. It's a good thing they didn't try to plow because they would have.
Yeah.
Yes, there is no plug. But I said, yes, I saw them, but I can't move them. So we waited till you came back.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Somebody asked me, and I told them, I don't remember who it was. But it was a nice thought,
Yeah.
but they don't
Right.
work, and I don't know, hopefully we can get them to come get them.
They need to be disposed of. It just didn't work.
So Connie, does that, I was thinking, well, we could, Spinney Meeting House and the school make great pictures.
Mm-hmm.
The station,
Yep.
we need something down there.
Mm-hmm.
You could maybe, I don't know if you could get a picture with the tower
Yeah.
without a lot of stuff. It's hard with stuff around it. Maybe items in the museum, but you'd have to stage them.
Yeah. I don't think that would be a good idea.
Okay. Well, you know what
I know what I'm
women
buying
would
for
buy.
magnets.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
'Cause the women are gonna buy them,
What
not
you
the
really
men.
need, Connie, is a picture of Phil all dressed in his uniform.
Yeah.
That was
That's
a
what
nice picture of the fourth generation.
Yeah.
I printed
It
it
was.
off. Big 5x7.
Yeah. Good.
I haven't got it on the refrigerator yet. Because there
Wednesday
isn't
or
any room for
Wednesday?
that.
If you, yeah.
Tuesday or Wednesday. I have to go to Boston on Friday.
I have root canal tomorrow.
Wednesday, so Wednesday.
Yep.
Okay, Wednesday the only thing I have is East Wakefield 10 to 12.
Well, Connie, go
Yeah,
out with
well,
your
I go up
camera.
and- Yeah.
Oh, okay, so
Yep.
start there, and then maybe after East Wakefield come here.
Mm-hmm.
If there's anything you think, maybe one of the stage coaches. I think Spinney. Would you do sites or you guys decide?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
and we'll order if you did 4 sites or 4 things or 6, we can get 25 to start with or
Yeah.
whatever you think.
Okay.
Remember 50. She said $1.45
Okay.
each, so whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, good. And then just let us know just when you're ready to email. It's better not to email it too many times. I'll give you Patty's number.
Do you have is it on a memory card,
Yes.
the pictures? Okay, so
Yes.
then I can take that and put it in my computer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh. Because I have a little machine that prints out the picture.
Is that what you would like?
I think she can. No, the email will be easier, and she'll print it just once.
From the
Yeah.
I'll email her and tell her we could either send a print, or we can send it.
Okay. I'll give you
I
the
asked her
card.
yesterday, email, and she said it's fine. Just be sure you got, 300. You need to have pretty fine print, a good picture, and she can enhance it and work with it. So I think she'd want the email.
So will she be able to enhance it like and take the wires out?
I don't know, probably
Yeah.
not.
That'd be photo.
Because they do that when they make the
Photoshopping.
plaques.
You know what else we should do is pick up a new memory card. Because otherwise I'll have all your pictures.
I know. Now I got to know you're not there.
Right.
Philip keeps saying, when are you going to delete some of those? I got a picture of Spencer when she was a year old, I noticed the other day. And I said, oh, I can't get rid of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I'll get one
We'll think of something.
tomorrow.
Okay. We have 2 other things
I
we
gotta
have to do
remember.
tonight.
That,
Wait a
that'll be
minute.
part of the $50 toward the project, Connie. So
Yeah.
Well, that's all right. I'll just get
Well,
a
it can
card.
be. It can be, and we'll.
Card just for that.
Don't worry.
but I don't have a great.
Or I
computer.
might even have one.
Okay.
Actually, I think I have one in my small Canon. I have a card,
Okay, 2 things
new card.
that we still need to go over. One I didn't get on here, it would be under other. The first thing is, some of you know when we met with DHR on the day after our last meeting, I think it was the day after, I had received, 2 days after, I had received an email with from a representative of the church who wanted me to support flashing digital speed lights in the village. And I said, I can't do that. I represent the Heritage Commission, and, flashing lights aren't, I wrote a letter about it. But in the meantime, before I sent the letter, Connie and Rick and I went and met with the police chief and told him what our feelings were about it, and he did. I don't think he really realized this was even a national historic district, which it is in
Probably
addition to a local. So he agreed to hold off until there was a meeting, because he didn't know hadn't heard any opposition to flashing lights in the village, and asked that I contact the chairman of the selectmen and plan to get it on the agenda, which I did.
I
And
wish Mark were here for this.
I know it. And I will talk to him again, because I asked him to come up and see,
Right.
just sit at our house and
Yeah.
see what goes on out there.
Yeah.
And so we're on the agenda. In the meantime, I've looked at a couple of these on the road, and they're awful, but they're so intrusive. But I want you to look at. I would like a discussion about this, and in your notebooks that you have tonight is the. Where's your copy? Because I don't know mine is. Can I share it with you right here? What I want, this is, as far as a Heritage Commission, some of the items that comes up before a Heritage Commission, we can involve our own opinion, but when it comes to the historical, when it comes to voting on the things in the historic district, it's very clear in the bylaws. If you could look at page 21, not the bylaws, the zoning that was passed by the town, it's the purpose. And I don't know if you want me to read this out loud so it's on film.
Yeah,
But-
wouldn't hurt.
Okay. The purpose the purpose, New Hampshire state law declares preservation of cultural resources, and particularly of structures and places of historic, architectural, and community value as a public purpose. Pursuant to the above, it is specific purpose of this ordinance to preserve and safeguard the heritage of the town of Wakefield by making it possible for the citizens of the town to create one historic district that will: 1. Preserve for generations to come the picturesque and unique settings and collections of historically, architecturally, and culturally significant buildings and structures which are found within the town of Wakefield. Number 2. Encourage the maintenance and restoration of such buildings and structures and their settings, and ensure that new buildings and structures and alterations to those existing within the district are in visual harmony with their neighbors, in order to preserve that which reflects the cultural, social, economic, political, and architectural history of the town of Wakefield. And 3, to foster civic pride and beauty, strengthen the local economy, conserve and maintain property values in the district, and provide an opportunity to enhance the education, pleasure, and welfare of the citizens of the visitors to the town of Wakefield. So this is what we're supposed to do as it relates to legislating within the historic district. So I believe it's very clear we should not be voting to have flashing lights in the district. They're not allowed any other place in town. If you look at the town zoning for signs, there's like 5 pages, which I might have brought with me, and lighted signs and anything flashing is not allowed. So in my opinion, let me read it. Under prohibited signs, number 2, a searchlight or the use of a searchlight or similar bright light beam to attract attention. A sign that incorporates in any manner any flashing or moving illumination or with illumination which varies in intensity or varies in color, that has any visible moving parts, visible revolving parts, or visible mechanical movement of any description, or other apparent visible movement achieved by electric pulsations or by actions of normal wind current or otherwise. So
It says they're not allowed.
prohibited. Under F on page 49 of the Wakefield zoning ordinance. So all of this to give just a smidgen of history for those of you who weren't here. I can't even tell you how many years ago. The speeding through the village has been a problem. It's a problem because there have been animals killed. There have been people nearly hit. It's been a problem. So back when Tim Merrill was chief, so some of you remember how long ago that was, I was asked to write a letter to him. I was a member of the Heritage Commission then, not the chairman. And I initiated a letter to him that we needed to do something about the traffic here. So that went on. There was only one more year before he retired. And then it got moved on to Chief Fifield when he came on. And ultimately, and so now we have another chief and it's still an issue. So through these years, it took until a couple years ago to get the speed reduced through the village. So it's now 30. There are now 27 signs in the village, not counting the National Historic District sign. There are still speeders out there. It's not just an issue in front of the church. It's an issue within the whole village for all of us that live there. I've talked with, not everyone, but several people within the village, none of whom want any flashing lights in the village, and they don't want them in front of their house. And many of these people had said they'll come to the meeting. So that's what we need to do tonight is, as a commission, vote to decide if we're going to support the fact that there should not be flashing lights. They're solar digital flashing lights. Tracy.
Flashing lights don't belong in a historic village, but however, I really, really, really want to support the entity that is requesting help for slowing the traffic down. Would it be possible to have speed bumps, either permanent or removable?
It's a state road. State won't put speed bumps.
Yeah, they can't, the snowplows can't maneuver
Right.
Well,
around speed bumps.
I lived in a
For one
community
thing.
where actually we did remove them in the wintertime, so they did slow.
Are there
everything down.
removable ones?
Yes, there are.
But the state won't allow it.
Yeah.
We asked about that.
So I really, I go to church there, so
Yeah.
I open up my door. It is a very, I want to respect the request for help.
Right.
No, flashing lights don't belong in a historic district, but I really don't want, but I believe there's a need, and if we could all think outside the box to help,
Right.
I would like to do that.
Totally agree. And that's the sort of thing that I hope we can bring forward at the meeting
It's the 14th. Wednesday
At
the
7.
14th.
next
At
week
7.
from Wednesday.
What time?
Well, 7 is when the meeting starts, but I
Yes.
don't know when we will be on the agenda.
No,
Hasn't been posted yet.
actually I saw it the other day, but
Is it posted? I mean, it's
Yeah.
already set?
well,
Okay.
Tony sent it to me. But
Oh, we won't make it there.
because of Hazel McBride Nursery School, I have a real concern. Every day, if I couldn't park in the parking lot when I brought Spencer to school, I'd have to park, on the road, way over as far as I could get. And I wouldn't get out or take her out of the car unless there was no traffic coming. And I'd sit there and the tractor trailer
They're
trucks,
on, yeah.
I mean, you name it, is on that road and they're speeding. They're not slowing down. And so I have that concern because of all the children, and I prayed all the time that nobody would get hit. And thank God nobody did.
Yeah.
I mean, because we sat the parents all down and told them how dangerous the situation is here. And you need to look out for your kids. When you bring them out of the building, you need to look out and teach the kids. And the kids were excellent. They did not go outside that sidewalk. They were excellent. So I'm kind of half and half.
It is.
And-
It is a huge problem in the whole village. It isn't just in front of the church. It's
Right.
everywhere. If we want to walk on
absolutely.
the street,
Yeah, you can't walk, really.
But I just want to make sure that, and this is how I felt when I was a selectman, if the board votes that we should not, that we should disprove this or whatever. And if I vote no or whatever, I will support the board because I'd be outvoted. And I just want to make sure everybody knows that. That's the way I deal with things. If I'm outvoted, it doesn't matter. My personal feelings, I support the decision. So I want everybody to know that.
Well, I think when we agreed to be on this commission, we agreed to follow this ordinance,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is clear that that's out of character. Our personal opinion might vary, but I think in this instance we need to follow the ordinance. My personal opinion doesn't vary. I don't want flashing lights there. I live in the district. I don't want to see them. I don't think they're appropriate, but I also think that this says we should see that things like that don't happen in the historic district. We definitely need to come up with something. One of the things that we've talked about is, maybe more patrolling. The police have really picked it up. I think they picked it up, Connie, since you and Rick and I were there.
Yeah.
That next
think so, too.
weekend,
Yep.
we saw 3 people stopped every weekend. Not just weekends. Almost every time we go out, no, that's not true either. Many times when we go out,
Yeah.
You'd see
we
that
see
they've
them people
Yeah.
being stopped.
Yeah.
And so I think they're beginning to work on that. And one of the specials I was talking with a week ago, I said I hadn't seen him around. He's just works Thursday to Sunday, and I said he said I got to get he was just chatting with me and he was ready to leave. I said, and he was going to be on for like 10 hours or something. I said, watch the historic district and cut the speeding terribly through there. He says, I've stopped a lot of people there, and I also tell them to tell their friends to slow down in the district because they're going to get picked up. So I thought, oh, thanks, Dawn.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Because
And
if it's just a flashing light, they're gonna stop even paying attention to it. It needs
After a while.
It needs the police presence to really.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, there
think
needs
so,
to be a
too.
consequence.
Yeah.
People need to feel something
Yeah.
when they consistently come through, at 50 miles an hour.
Tracy,
And not
yeah,
only
yeah.
the speed, but the number of cars is an
Right.
issue, and the number of motorcycles,
Uh,
and
yeah.
trucks, and logging trucks,
Especially
Yeah.
this
tractor
time of
trailer
year.
rigs,
Yeah.
tractor
You know.
trailer rigs.
But all winter,
Going
I was
around the
surprised.
corner.
I really was surprised.
Yeah, going around the corner at times when a person is trying to walk around that corner.
It's awful. And
David
the chief said,
Fairchild got almost knocked over once or twice, but almost knocked over another 2 or 3 times. And whether there's a connection or not, I don't know. But they live in Indiana now.
Tracy,
Yep.
Would it be possible to have a discussion, I have 2 parts to my question. Have a discussion with the state about the road. What options have they offered anybody else around the state with circumstances like this? And also to make sure that we let who's ever asking know that we would be very supportive of alternative ideas.
and that was in my letter, certainly too. It is an issue in the village that we've been dealing with, trying to deal with. Lord, how many years
How many
was
years did it take to
Fifield?
get the crosswalk?
And the speed limit, it took
Yeah.
8 or 9 years.
Right.
And the crosswalk was part of that. So now we have a crosswalk. We have 27 signs that that people are not paying attention to. And just as Jean said, I agree with you 100%, Jean. A flashing light that isn't being enforced,
Yeah.
that's permanent, unless they see police there,
Right.
is a permanent one, is not helpful. The temporary ones that go out, people pay attention to those because they don't know whether the police is nearby or
Right.
what's going on.
Yeah.
But
And they have put some up in the
Yeah,
village. I've
they
seen it a
have.
couple times.
and
Yep.
and then they followed up, and the chief told us how many people they stopped
Yep.
because there were so many people speeding.
Yes.
And the police presence, I think, more of it if they can do it, is going to help more than a sign would.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But number one, I think it definitely is not following our purpose for having an historic district. And this was voted on by the town when it was originally set up. Anybody else have anything they want to say? So I guess I'd like to have your vote that you would support us being opposed to these solar flashing speed lights, and in the same, to work towards other ways to slow the traffic down, because that's what the residents in the village want and the people that attend the church.
So it really, this was brought before the selectmen when I was on the board. And it was presented to us by Ken Fifield about, it was called traffic calming devices. Nowhere did they ever say anything about flashing lights, which I probably wouldn't have thought about it one way or another if they had, because I wasn't aware of what the sign was going to look like. I now know what the sign's going to look like. But, and the selectmen are the ones that voted that, yep, those would be good. And we were told at the time that the Congregational Church had bought these and that they were down to the police station. So that we all voted, all three of us voted, yeah, that's fine. We got to do something about that traffic up there. And we weren't having any luck with the state. The state said that was fine. We could put the signs there, but they didn't want any responsibility if they got hit by plows. So somebody else had to take the responsibility, and the town wasn't going to take the responsibility. It's a state road, so you know it's a mess actually. But Pam is right. We need to follow what is
Those guidelines.
for the Heritage Commission.
Yeah.
We have to.
Yeah, I agree.
Much as I
And
Yeah,
Connie,
because-
if you have a different opinion to speak personally, you're free to do that. I know
Oh, I
that that hasn't been the way you've looked at things, but this is for the commission,
right.
and what we
commission
do
goes.
outside the commission when we're not speaking for the commission,
Yes.
I don't have an issue with.
No.
I just think we need to, I made a stand on behalf of the commission, and I want to know that everybody feels that way. It had to be done at the time, or we'd have them out there right now. And I did discuss that with the two people from DHR the next day at that meeting afterwards, and they said, well, hopefully you can come up with some alternative ways of dealing with it. Because
And I've
they
been trying to think of some way.
well,
The
maybe
only
if we
way
just
is to have police there and patrol
I
it.
agree. I think
Yeah.
if they could somehow patrol a little,
A little.
vary their patrol.
Yeah. Yep.
we even offered that they could park their, if they had an extra police car,
At your
park
house.
it in our extra driveway.
Oh, yeah.
And actually, I had a phone call from that same person that Saturday that I saw him and said, will you please watch the district? Of course, he wasn't going to listen to me. I mean, I wasn't giving him orders, right?
Yeah.
But he called and he asked if he could park there because it was a good spot. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is a
Yeah.
good spot. Kind
Yeah.
of hidden back.
Yep. And you can see both ways.
I'll remember that when I'm driving.
remember that it's 30. It really ought to be 25 through
Yeah.
the village
Yeah,
and
that would be
30
even
on the
better.
other ends, but that's not what the state agreed to.
Right.
Yeah.
So you want me to second it?
Did you write what I said down?
Support, opposed to solar flashing lights, but support other ways to slow down traffic.
Yeah.
Does not involve the solar lights.
Okay.
That wasn't, you didn't make that motion, or did you?
Well, read it again because I
Okay.
think I added.
I just said support.
Right. So the
looking for
motion
support opposing the solar flashing lights.
in the historic
Okay, In
district,
historic district.
but supporting other ways of
To
slowing
slow down
traffic.
traffic, yeah.
First, we need to
So who makes the first motion? Is that?
Well, I made it, and
Okay.
I guess I
So
can.
moved.
And Tracy seconded it.
Okay,
Is there any
Tracy.
more discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Okay. So now, anybody that can be there on the 14th, please come. And there are some people in the village that will be there. You know, I could have started a petition. I don't want to go out there because then you're opposing. I'm not opposed to what the church is doing. It's just not right for the district. And I wish that they had spoken to me. They come to me usually for when they want to do other things to see if it's approved, is acceptable, and they just. And I was at some of those meetings, and it was never ever were there flashing lights mentioned. So hopefully we can get people to slow down. One more thing. We have got to get the budget done. It's due the end of the month. I just got this week. It's due the 8th. So I have a copy of everybody of the existing one. Okay. And we can probably quickly go down through this. What time is it? Right there. Okay. So we increased the clerk's wages, but shortly after that, she resigned because she needed more time in her other job. I'm thinking I'd like to keep it. I want to get a clerk. I want to get this advertised, and even I'd like to have it there so it's an option if we get somebody. I don't know what they're starting them at now. Do you know, Connie?
No.
I'd like to leave it there for the time being unless Connie has a comment.
The only comment I have is when they go over this budget, they'll set, the main thing is it hasn't been used. Do you
Yep.
really need it? So
We do. We
I
need to
wouldn't
get
put-
someone.
I wouldn't put it at 28
20.
necessarily. Clerical wages. Put it down a little bit.
Didn't we use some of it? I mean, Larissa was.
Well, we don't have any. We did, and I don't know why that's not in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we did. I mean, she just happened to leave during a partial year. So
Right.
the reason for keeping it is because we are looking to hire somebody full time. We just lost our
Yeah.
person partway through, but we did.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know why
well-
there's nothing there. Oh, actual, but that was the year before.
Yeah.
I need to ask them. It's a really good point. I just
Yep.
printed it when
So
I got
let's-
it and didn't even look at it.
Let's put it in there and see what they do.
And I'll have more information when
Yeah.
it'll be in
Mhm.
September when I meet with them. So
Right.
if
we need
any
an
of-
actual for
Yeah.
And-
And we'll have that. Or
and if
They
anyone
will.
knows of anyone that would be interested, please have them call me.
okay.
Okay.
We can tell them it's 15 an hour for about.
Tell them they need to call and talk to me and what their qualifications are. But they could look in last year's town report and see it. But we didn't start Larissa, and she was very qualified at that.
Yeah.
But so professional services, I think we need to keep that,
Yeah.
to keep the dollar in to keep it open.
Yep.
Training. This is something else they questioned last year because no one went.
Mm.
We need to have people go, and it's in one of them is in usually in April. So the last 2 years I haven't been here in April, but it's Connie, you've been a number of times
Mm-hmm.
and felt. What did you think?
I enjoyed it. You do learn some things talking with people. Not so much, well, the classes are good, but, and you get to ask questions and whatever, but talking with people afterwards was a big plus for me. And I might like to go now that I'm not tied down with other things.
Right. So I don't know what they'll do. They may cut it
Yeah.
because we haven't used it the last 2 years. Utilities, we can't do much about that, and we don't know where the actuals are at this point, but I would say just go with what was appropriated because by the time we get
5,000.
there,
Yep.
Yeah.
they will. And so that is for heat and air at the railroad, heat and air at the freight house, electricity at the blacksmith shop and at the Grange, we have to pay out of our Fund 4 at the schoolhouse. Because the town doesn't, remember,
Yes,
want
right.
to,
Yep.
us to,
I was just thinking, so the appropriation was 5, we've used 3. So what are you suggesting for 2020?
I'm gonna leave it at 5.
5.
They'll give me a closer, when I go
Yeah.
in September, they'll
Okay.
give me a closer idea.
Oh,
And the same thing with the oil,
Yeah.
because it's dependent upon the bid too. So I would go with the 1,500 there.
Yep.
The memberships, to date, we've spent 60. I was wondering, Connie, we used to belong to NEMA, New England
Yeah.
Museum Association. You went to one of those in
Yeah.
Portland.
Right.
I'm wondering, now that we have a number of actual viable sites, if we should consider joining that again.
That was very informative. That was a good thing to go to.
So it's the New England Museum Association, and they
How
give
much
you
was
wonderful
that? Do you
hits.
remember?
Well, the membership was $75 the last time we belonged, and we haven't. So I need to check on that.
Mhm.
I would like to keep this where it is, and if I find out
185.
that NEMA is more than 75, that I increase it by that
Yeah.
number.
Yep.
So I'm going to do
185. 185.
Yeah, 185 plus NEMA.
Yeah.
So that would allow all of us, any of us, to go. We went, Connie and I went to the one in Portland. Valerie, I think your husband
Mm-hmm.
and myself, did you go to the one down in Springfield, Mass?
No.
So there were 2 years we went. I know that was when, what's his name in North Wakefield belonged. John, you know, the W, he went. So it might be really helpful for us because it helps with
Mhm.
potential exhibits and other helpful things for the museums. Advertising, I'd leave the same.
Yep.
Printing and supplies, I have just submitted something. I'd go with the 400.
Mm-hmm.
we don't have a current.
No, but I just submitted one bill
Okay.
that you guys, so some of
That
you
we
signed
signed.
last
Mhm.
Saturday.
Yep.
Postage should be the same.
Mhm.
Miscellaneous expenses. Are there any other things that people were thinking of that I know they're going to want to keep the budget down?
Yeah.
Well, we exceeded.
But already we've
Yeah,
exceeded
you've
it,
gone
so
over.
so we should.
By $7.
Yeah. So we probably should put
How did that happen? Because it was the
13 or
Grange?
14. Grange and Railroad Station.
I need to check what's in there because
Signs
that,
for Route 16, renewal cost to promote
Yeah.
Heritage Spot.
so where is $7.88? Something got put in there that shouldn't have. I'll check it. So I think we should go with the 12.
Yeah.
And I'll find out what the
Mhm.
788 is.
And none of the other fees are going to increase?
I haven't been notified of it. Nope.
Should we check that before?
I think I just paid the bill for, we just submitted 2 of the security system bills. So I think we're okay on those. And in the last several years, we've done 2,500 for the 820 line.
Yep.
And I'd like to do that again. And I did just put something in that from our last warrant. And it's the only amount of money that we get that helps with our expenses on any of the buildings.
Yep.
So basically,
It's the same.
it's the same.
Yeah.
Unless we might, I'll check on the NEMA, that would be the only thing. They may ask me to cut back on the conferences because we haven't spent it the last 2
Yeah.
years, but
Yep.
I'd like to have it in there as a
And see,
request.
this bottom line here, expenditures, I mean, is way below that, so,
Yeah.
but when we get the other things, hopefully,
Right. Because here we are trying to put this together in basically only through July.
Mm.
And
Yeah, it's
it
really
isn't
hard.
even totally July.
Yeah.
So it's tough.
Right,
We
it's
really
not
have 3
totally.
months of.
Yep.
So.
You know, I think of the school, so this is January to January.
This is December, well,
Yeah, it
yeah,
is.
January
Or
to
December.
January.
January
So,
through
yeah.
December.
Calendar year.
So we
Calendar
still
year.
have, right, we still have,
Most of them.
Mhm.
And so basically
Yep.
what you vote on in March, you've already expended a third of it.
Yes.
Mm.
All right, so I'm not going to total that. It will be the same unless there's a change with ANEMA.
Mm-hmm.
And do I have an approval
So
with
moved.
that? So moved by Connie,
Second.
second Nancy. Any discussion? All in favor? Oh,
Just one question, what did we decide for the clerical wages, the 28?
leave it the way it is
Leave
for
it at
now.
28.
Okay, that was it, no question.
Now, the one thing that has gone up is, and you know what? That's what I put in the 820 line, is the, we have the grass cut and the cleanup at Spinney Meeting House that comes under here. It's only the school we have to pay for ourselves. So I put that in that line, so.
Okay.
All right. All right. Then that's it. Anything else?
I know it's long, I do have just one question for next meeting.
Okay.
Or if we could possibly, I was curious how the turntable park is going, but again, if the next meeting is.
Okay.
just
Well,
fine,
that is what I was talking about in the CLG.
Okay,
That we're waiting to hear, and our consultant is ready to go. In fact, I've gotten some people lined up who are willing, have invited people to come to that first meeting, because we usually, once it's approved, the consultant would have a kickoff meeting, and we'd invite people that might be able to help with information, like as an example, when we did the canal and mill sites, people who lived in town, who were related to the Paul family, people who knew some other sites, who owned property near some of the sites, were all invited to come. And they added a lot of information to the consultant and gave them a start on where to go and search for more information. Ann Hatch had an unbelievable amount of written material that was helpful. If you look in the report, you'll see the list of people who helped, and a lot of that came from that initial meeting. So that's how when I wrote the grant, that's what I planned for a kickoff. I have several people who are related to the railroad activities who are willing to be there. One was Rick Libby, who worked with the Wolfboro Railroad and has unbelievable amount of stuff, and he was there when they put in, he was involved in the new the turntable that's there now.
Yep.
That people think, it wasn't the original one. What he told me Saturday, I knew it, we know, many of us, that it's very similar, and it came from Keene. I didn't know that it was 2 numbers off. He said it was just, so apparently there was not a model number, a serial number,
Yeah.
or whatever you want to call it. And the one in Keene was 2 off from the one in Steubenville. I didn't know that. Rick Libby knew that and told
Yeah.
us on Saturday.
Wow.
He will come to the kickoff. Another friend of ours, Frank Judge, who's been involved in a lot of things, he used to have a caboose that sat on the turntable, and he would come and stay in it. And he's been involved with the Rail Trail group, and we'll get some of those here. So I've got that in the works for when we know sometime, hopefully later this month or in the beginning of September, we'll be able to do that, because this has to be completed next summer. And now we are, let's see, more than 4 months into this without the consultant even being able to start.
Mm.
But Vicky's done it before, and she understands. I emailed her today where we were again. So,
Perfect.
okay.
Can I just go back for 1 second?
Yes.
The budget thing. So there was a motion to keep it the same except for checking on the museum.
The NEMA,
Yeah,
NEMA
yeah.
fees, and if it is higher than the $75, it'll be increased by that amount.
Okay. And so Connie made the motion, Nancy seconded, and is everybody agreed?
Passed.
I just want to make sure I have it
Unanimous.
down correctly
Unanimous.
before
And
I
your
do
last minutes were great. They were abbreviated.
that.
You know, we get into a lot of
I pretended I
discussions.
wasn't at a special ed meeting, so.
And so it, you know, they were good. It's
Okay.
a good way to follow up with
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
So, great.
Yeah.
Anything else? Entertain a motion to adjourn. Thank you, everyone.
So moved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Second.